Folks, people are asking, what do you do on a Passover that turns out to be on a Saturday night, Motzei Shabbat? How do you do cleaning the chametz? How do you check your house? Here's the story. I'll fill you in everything you need to know about a Passover that comes out on a Saturday night, Erev Pesach, להיות בשבת, as they call it in the Talmud. So here we go. So you have a Passover, but it's Saturday night. So technically, the time that you usually would be burning the chametz is on Shabbat, Erev Pesach, but obviously we don't burn or do anything like that on Shabbat. So let me walk you through this. So in a year like that, let's take a bit of a step back. Ta'anit bechorot, fasting of the firstborn, which usually is done on Erev Pesach, on the day before Pesach, firstborn male boys usually fast or go to a siyum so that they can eat. So that's done actually this year, in a year like this, on Thursday. On Thursdays, on this Thursday before Pesach, so meaning Pesach is Saturday night, the Thursday before, the firstborn sons, the bechorot, should either fast or, as is more commonly prevalent, they should make sure to attend a siyum meal where they eat for a mitzvah, where someone's finishing a tractate of Talmud or whatever it is, and then they can eat. So that goes to Thursday before even sunset. Next, b'dikat chametz. Since checking the chametz must be done at night, you're not going to do checking of the chametz Friday night. That would not be possible. You can't move the candle around. So we actually do b'dikat chametz, the checking of chametz, on Thursday night. On Thursday night is b'dikat chametz. And on that Thursday night, you're not only going to check your house for chametz, but you're going to make the bracha of al bi'or chametz, and then when you finish, you're going to do the kol chamira declaration, annulling and making void all the chametz that you own. Even though it is 2 full nights before Pesach, still you'll do b'dikat chametz with a bracha. When will you not make a bracha or any proclamations? When you do the burning of the chametz. Friday morning, well, not even Friday morning. You can do it at any point in the day because there's no end time for eating chametz. So on Friday, at whatever point you can, you will be burning your chametz, doing this minhag of burning the chametz. However, make sure you still keep some chametz for your hamotzi Friday night. We're going to talk about that in a second. So it's kind of a broken up biur chametz. On Thursday night, you're going to check your house with a bracha, say kol chamira. Friday morning or afternoon, obviously preferably in the morning, then you get to burn your chametz, and then you're going to do throughout that day all of your preparations for Pesach. However, you get a bonus. What's the bonus you get? Usually, Erev Pesach, after Chatzot, after midday, you're not allowed to do melacha that's just not meant for the holiday. You're not allowed to even cut your nails or take a haircut after Chatzot because it's considered a holiday, as it was the time where they brought the Korban Pesach to the Beit HaMikdash. So, this time, Erev Pesach, there's no real significance for the Chatzot deadline on Friday because it's not actually Erev Pesach. Erev Pesach is on Shabbat. So just something to note, you get a little bonus there after midday. Next, what do you do after that? You start doing all of your Passover preparations before Shabbat. You don't need, obviously, Erev Tavshilin, but you do all of your Pesach preparations for Shabbat. Come Friday night, you now need to make hamotzi. Well, it's a tough situation. Why? On the one hand, you need to make hamotzi. On the other hand, you're not allowed to eat matzah. Yeah, there's a strict prohibition against eating matzah the day before Pesach, and according to Ashkenazi custom, 30 days before Pesach. So what are you going to make hamotzi on? On the one hand, you want to make hamotzi on challah, but your meal is presumably all made with Pesach dishes. You're not going to be able to clean everything and make a whole meal with non-Pesach and then transfer in the middle of Shabbat. So what are you going to do? You don't have your Pesach, you don't have your chametz dishes. So here's what people do. Some shols synagogues have meals that are held in the synagogue. That way you don't need to worry. They order catering. They have a chametz non-kosher for Passover meal. Same is true for the next morning, and you don't need to worry. However, if you're having it at home, 2 options. Either you take pita bread and little buns and make hamotzi outside your house or in the corner of the house where it's really, the crumbs are not going to go anywhere, and you make hamotzi eat the challah and pita bread or bun, and then go to your meal, which is kosher for Pesach. Just make sure your mouth is clean. You rinse it out with water before you eat with those precious Pesach dishes. Or some Sephardic people, they use matzah ashira, meaning they take matzah that was made to make cookies, etc., the kosher for Passover cookies, and they'll use that, or they'll use egg matzah in order to make hamotzi. So it's not technically the matzah you'll use Pesach night, but it is the matzah that you can make a hamotzi on it. So that's Friday night. In the morning, alert. Make sure you wake up early. Why? Because Shabbat morning is going to be the actual Erev Pesach. And so in that case, you don't want to get stuck with the Sof Zman Achilat Chametz, the last time for eating Chametz, and therefore you should make sure to get up early. In fact, some synagogues are going to only have a Shacharit and the Torah reading, and they'll push the Musaf off for later. Why? Because usually around 10, 10:30, 10:40 is Sof Zman Achilat Chametz. It's the last time you're going to eat Chametz. So you need to make sure that not only do you finish davening before that time, but you also have your meal with the two challahs. And so, on the morning of Pesach, before Sof Zman Achilat Chametz, after you finish your prayers, or if it's an emergency, maybe even before you finished your prayers, before you started your prayers, I should say, you will go and do what you did last night. You'll take 2 challah rolls, 2 pita breads in a either outdoor location or in a location that's over a little bag, and you are going to make sure that you have hamotzi, and then use your kosher for Pesach meal, kosher for Pesach dishes. That's what you're going to do in terms of the meal. Very importantly, fulfill a really very important mitzvah. Whatever crumbs or little tiny tom-tom cracker or what have you not you have left, now is its moment to shine. You go to the bathroom or a place where it can be completely disposed of, you flush it down, dispose of it, and you recite the traditional kol chamira, declaring any chametz that you have as out of your possession and not yours. So that's what you're going to do Shabbat morning. Obviously, after that, you're only eating kosher for Passover. So just to recap quickly, Shabbat morning, you're going to wake up relatively early or finish your davening early. Make sure you have the hamotzi with the chametz, wrap it up, and make sure you also do kol chamira, do the biur chametz by taking your pita bread crumbs that are left or a tom-tom cracker, flushing it down the toilet, saying kol chamira. If you don't have anything, just say kol chamira without using any chametz, and you are all set. Seudah Shlishit, controversial topic. What do you do Seudah Shlishit? There's no chance you can have challah. Some people have fruit. Some people have Seudah Shlishit with matzah ashira, if they're Sephardic, with egg matzah or matzah cookies, and that's how they do that. Now Shabbat is almost ready to go, and you are preparing for your Seder. What are you going to do? Very important note, you're getting ready for the actual Seder night. Do not light Yontif candles under any circumstance. Why? Because it's still Shabbat. We don't light fires on Shabbat under any circumstance unless something's a life-threatening situation. And so, make sure you wait until the 3 stars are out. Crazy fact, you're not even allowed to prepare the Seder table before the 3 stars are out. So that's tough because you have guests and you have people coming. And what are you going to do? You got to wait until after 3 stars are out. Usually the synagogues have a shir that goes on for a bit long so that people have time to prepare. And you don't end up doing the prayers and you don't end up doing the preparations until 3 stars are out. At this point, once it is the time to end it, if you're at home lighting Shabbat candles, usually people say Baruch HaMavdil ben Kodesh LeKodesh, or they'll light at a later point, which I'll mention. Everyone comes home from shul, everyone's ready to start the Seder, very exciting, except you need to have Havdalah. Shabbat is over. So how do you do Havdalah? For that we have a trick called Yak Nahaz. Yak Nahaz is an abbreviation for Yayin Kiddush Ner Havdalah Zman. Meaning, if you open your Haggadah, it's going to say that if Erev Pesach comes on a Saturday night after Shabbat, your Kiddush will be very special. You'll do a Yayin, first the Hagafen, Kiddush, then the Asher Bachar Banu Mikolam, the Kiddush. Ner, candle, pause. What does that mean? How do you make Havdalah with a candle? So, in order to do this, you had to make sure before Shabbat to buy a 72-hour candle, or at least a 48-hour candle, and you're going to use it to light the Havdalah candle. Havdalah candle has to have 2 wicks, and you don't want that huge torch that you use every Motzei Shabbos to be your Havdalah candle, because then you can't turn it off. You can turn a fire on Yom Tov, but you can't turn it off. So usually people take a match or another small candle, and they attach it to the 72-hour candle, and you do Havdalah, you do Borei Meorea Esh with a match attached to the candle, and then you put the match safely on a tray from metal, and that's the Ner. Ner, hey, Havdalah, there's going to be Hamavdil ben Kodesh leKodesh, and Zman she'echianu. So what is Yad Knahaz? Test yourself if you remember. It is Yain, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah, Zman. That is what you're going to be doing. You're going to do Yain, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah, Zman, and that is how you're going to go about ending Shabbat. Now you have 2 days of Yom Tov ahead of you. Shabbat is over, and you can, I know it's a lot to have a 3-day Yom Tov, but remember, it is Yom Tov. Now, it's not Shabbat, which means you can have things cooked as long as you're not starting the fire, and you can do many, many more things than you can on Shabbat. That's the story for Erev Pesach that came out on Shabbat. So quickly, it is Tanit Bechorot on Thursday, B'dikat Chametz Thursday night with a bracha and kol chamira. In the Friday morning or throughout the day, you burn the chametz without a bracha, without kol chamira. You do all your Yom Tov preparations, no pressure of chatzot. And then on Friday, you are also going to have everything ready for Shabbat. No chatzot deadline. Friday night, you can make hamotzi. You need to make hamotzi on 2 small pitas, 2 small chalas, as long as they don't ruin your Pesach dishes. Either make the bracha outdoors or have it in shul. And then on Shabbat morning, wake up early so that you can finish davening and eat your chalas before Sof Zman Achilat Chametz, which is usually around 10:30, 10:40. Some people will then daven the musaf after that time. Make sure you say kol chamira and fulfill the mitzvah of annulling your chametz. And after all that, get ready for Shabbat. I'm sorry, not getting ready for Shabbat. It is already Shabbat. Then you have your Seudah Shlishit either with fruit or if you're Sephardic with matzah ashira. Do not light candles until after 3 stars have come out. After 3 stars came out, you can set your table, you can light your candles, and then you do a Havdalah of Yak Nahaz, Yain Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah, and Zman. Most importantly, celebrate the holiday of Passover out of simcha, out of joy, happiness, and health, you and your family.